For exercise 7-3, I've already sort of laid in the top, front, and right side views. You'll notice that the top view and the front view are very incomplete at this point, and the reason I'm doing that is because the information that we can gain from this view and this view is really not going to help us overall in the long run. The right side view, however, is for the most part pretty complete. What I've got in here is everything minus one of the hidden lines that actually needs to be in there, and that is basically just a hidden line that shows the edge on the back side of this object. So just to put that edge in right there, that's actually this edge as it continues down where this edge right here stops. So now having that in there, the right side view is pretty much complete. The thing of it is the way this is dimensioned in the book is fairly easy to see since it's an isometric view. But if we try to put those same dimensions on any one of these views, we're either dimensioning the hidden objects or the dimensions are going to be skewed. So what we use instead is something called an auxiliary view. And what an auxiliary view does is it gives us a little bit more information about a certain face or feature. And in this case, we want our auxiliary view to look straight on at this face right here. So what we do is we go to the view where this face is shown in its true length, which is this view right here. Now, there's going to be a lot of arguments as to what goes into an auxiliary view, but my opinion is that any view added to a drawing should add clarity to the drawing, not take away from the overall clarity of the drawing. So rather than doing the entire view in the auxiliary view, what we do instead is only focus on that face that we're looking for. Now, the thing that it's important to remember is these faces are not all going to rest on 45-degree angles. Most of the time they're not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the offset command. And I'm going to offset this 25 from the original. And that's going to put this right here. Now what I want to do is I want to offset the actual width of the object, which is 28. And then I can begin to finish out the rest of this object. I know that there's going to be a line right here, which represents this line right here, this edge that we have right here. And I also put in my center line and my edge line for the hole that's going to appear in this object. The reason that's important is because we can't get that distance really anywhere else except for this auxiliary view, because it's based on this angle. So what I can do is, just for the time being, I'm going to draw this in here. I know based off of the dimensions in the book that this hole is actually centered. So I can draw a line from this midpoint. Now, I don't want to go along any angle. What I want to do is I want to grab the midpoint of the opposite side. And then if I take and project this line from here up using perpendicular, I can get the exact center for this hole. So now when I put my circle in here and give it the diameter of 12, I get the information that I'm looking for. I can now come in here and pull this up, and we'll go ahead and pull this up. And then I can trim out the information that I no longer need as part of this object. So now I can erase this, and what I have right here is I have this face shown in its true shape, its true orientation. Now, it's going to be a lot easier for me to dimension this cutout using this view than any of these views. So in the case where I've got my top, my front, and my right side view, what I can see is the information that I have up here, this hidden line representing this back edge. I don't have any of this information in here because it's all going to be very, very skewed. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go ahead and draw a spline. And a spline is basically a non-exact line that just shows there's more detail past this point, but it's not being shown on this drawing. So by erasing that, I now have a partial front view. One thing to keep in mind is have that whole thing in there so that your view spacing is set right. Because if I project this line across all the way, I should still have 25 in between these views. And the last thing that I want to do is up here, I know that I've got a lot more detail and a lot more information that actually goes in this view. But again, I want to use that spline, and I'm just going to copy this spline from here straight up. And then I can trim out all of the information that I'm not actually using. But again, make sure that you have the uppermost line, which is the projection of this, up and over for your centering. So it's probably a good idea to center this before you actually cut the views off. So what we have now is we have a top view, partial front view, full right side view, and auxiliary view. Now once this is dimensioned, centered, and everything else, you're ready to turn it in. But again, it's just basically what face do you want to add clarity to? That's the face that you're going to be drawing.